Hello, I'm Debbie Overstreet, ACP, and I am pleased to represent NALA, the Paralegal Association, as your board president. I have the other officers from the board with me today, as we would like to take a few minutes to discuss the 2023 proposed changes to our bylaws. All NALA members are invited and encouraged to vote during the voting window between June 13th and July 7th. You will be voting on bylaw changes and the board election for the 2023-2024 term. Before we get started, can each of you introduce yourselves?
Certainly, I'll start. I'm Cheryl Nadarse, ACP, the current Vice President of NALA. I'm from Michigan, and I've been a member of NALA and the board since 2013, with a couple years off to serve on NALA's Continuing Education Council. Prior to being elected as Vice President, I served as NALA's Treasurer and Secretary.
Thank you, Cheryl. Bianca?
Hello, everyone. My name is Bianca Greer. I'm your current NALA Secretary. I've been a member of NALA since 2010 and a board member this is my 4th year as a board member. Previous to this term, I served as your treasurer and your affiliated associations director.
Thank you, Bianca. Debbie?
Hi, NALA members. I'm Debbie Sawyer, ACP from Nashville, Tennessee, and I currently serve as the NALA treasurer. I've been a NALA board member since 2002 and have served on the NALA board in various positions for over 10 years.
Thank you, Debbie. Bianca, as our secretary, can you provide a brief overview of the changes the board is proposing to the membership?
Absolutely, Deb. Over the last several years, the board of directors has been diligently working to modernize our bylaws. As a 48-year-old association, our processes and best practices have evolved with changes in the paralegal field and the association industry. Nearly every year, there are several changes, both big and small. This year, the board is proposing 6 different amendments, each of which you will vote on separately. Please note that all of these proposed amendments will be found in the May 2023 edition of the Facts and Findings, as well as on the NALA website. The first amendment is in Article 3, Section 3.21, and is related to the resignation of members. The board is proposing that we remove that prorated dues will be refunded to members who resign. Second, third, and fourth amendments are all in Article 4. One is in Section 4.3 and is related to the qualifications of directors. Here, we are proposing the removal of the qualification that a director must be actively employed as a legal assistant. Then we have Section 4.4, in which we are proposing that the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee shall be a seat on the board. The last amendment in Article 4 is in Section 6.2 regarding the prerequisites for officers. Again, we are proposing the elimination of the requirement that an officer be actively employed as a legal assistant. The fifth proposed amendment is in Article 12, Section 12.1, which regards the process of amending the bylaws moving forward. The board is proposing that future bylaw amendments should be approved by a 2/3 affirmative vote of the board instead of a 2/3 affirmative vote of the full membership. And the final amendment, which occurs throughout the bylaws and is a proposal to replace legal assistant with paralegal/legal assistant.
Thank you for that thorough overview, Bianca. Now we would like to take a few minutes to discuss these amendments to provide some insight into why they are being proposed. Cheryl, as the Vice President, you have the targeted focus on membership. can you tell us why we are making the first proposed amendment about the prorated refund?
I'd be glad to. We simply do not have members who officially resign prior to the completion of their membership term. It doesn't happen. So we contemplated removing the section altogether, but best practices require that we allow members to officially resign their membership at any point. So if a resignation does happen in the future, our current systems are not set up to process membership refunds. So we want to remove this antiquated membership model from our official documents. This is really a matter of our governing documents needing to catch up with the times. We anticipate little to no effect on any members.
Thanks, Cheryl. Debbie, can you share why we are proposing the second and fourth amendments that would remove the employment requirement for both directors and officers?
Well, this really came out of the pandemic, and it's also a result of our growing work with paralegal education programs. During the pandemic, we had many members and a couple of board members who were laid off or furloughed due to the upheaval of the economy. Excluding paralegals who are between positions from NALA leadership positions is an unintended consequence of this employment requirement. And like I said, we are expanding our reach into education arenas and have connected with many educators who would be great volunteer leaders. This employment requirement also unintentionally excludes this group of paralegals who are employed as educators and not directly as paralegals.
Debbie, are there any other changes to the requirements for directors and officers?
This amendment does not alter any of the other requirements for directors and officers. They will still need to be an active member, be legally competent to enter into contracts, be a U.S. citizen, and maintain an active CP status.
Thanks, Debbie. That does make a lot of sense. Cheryl, would you mind tackling the other amendments in this article, the one regarding the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee?
As Bianca said, we are proposing to add the chair of the DEI committee as a seat on the board. When we added the DEI committee as a standing committee in 2020, we did not add the chair as a member of the board. And this was really an oversight, as our other two standing committees, the CEC and the PDC, have their chairs represented on the board. We think this oversight happened because our first chair, our very own Bianca Greer, was already on the board through another capacity. When a new chair was appointed, we were finding it difficult to ensure that the work of the DEI committee was being properly folded into all of NALA's other efforts. And frankly, we need to demonstrate inclusion through having this new standing committee represented on the board in the same way as the others. And we can accomplish this through the bylaws amendment.
I couldn't agree more. Now I'm going to talk about the proposed amendment on future amendments. As Bianca said, a lot has changed since we were founded in 1975. Associations functioned very differently then, and definitely at a much slower pace. The U.S. association field has evolved into a thriving industry that employs hundreds of thousands of people with annual wages totaling nearly $20 billion. As a community, associations are the largest provider of post-college education and skills training. And things are growing and changing quickly. Many associations have already made the decision to embrace their nimbleness by bringing bylaw amendments to the level of the board of directors. We are proposing the same thing for NALA. In our world of ever-changing technology and instant communication, NALA needs to be able to make changes as leading practices and models change. Currently, we can make bylaw amendments once per year during the annual conference in July. And getting to that point of formally proposed amendment is a long process. The amendment must first be proposed by a member. That proposal is provided to the board, which meets only twice a year outside of the conference week. The board then approves the proposal to go to the membership. Since all amendments must be printed in the May facts and findings, all proposed amendments must be completed and submitted for a publication in April. If that deadline is missed, we have to wait until the following year to even bring it to a vote. The recent COVID-19 pandemic brought to light that antiquated governance models could bring about the demise of an association. The NALA Board of Directors is dedicated through thorough research and thoughtful planning to assuring that NALA continues to be the leading paralegal association for decades to come. Bianca, can you talk about the other big reason we are making this proposal?
Yes, Deb. As secretary, I can tell you that less than 10% of the full membership votes on these amendments. The purpose of membership-wide votes is to get membership-wide input. Unfortunately, we're not getting that input, and we and the NALA staff put a lot of resources into the amendment process, and it feels like improper use of NALA resources that could be used to better serve our members.
Thank you, Bianca. And please note, however, that all amendments will continue to be outlined in facts and findings as they occur. This is not to hide the process, it is to modernize the process, and like Bianca said, to better utilize our resources. And last but not least is the final proposed amendment. I think this is a pretty easy one. Debbie, would you please elaborate?
I agree. This should be a really easy amendment. Even though the ABA adopted a revised definition in 2020, removing the term legal assistant, NALA recognizes that the terms legal assistant and paralegal are used in the United States and are interchangeable. NALA acknowledges and supports paralegals regardless of title, and we want to make sure our bylaws reflect that fact. So the final amendment is simply adding paralegal/legal assistant wherever legal assistant is written in the bylaws. We have changed many of those instances over the past several years, but there are several more references we need to update.
Thank you all for staying with me for a bit to help our members better understand this year's bylaw changes.
Absolutely.
Lots of fun.
I hope this has been informative to you as NALA members as well. I want to leave you with some quick takeaways. You can see the proposed bylaw changes in the upcoming Facts and Findings magazine, which should hit your mailboxes in May. The changes are also on the NALA website. Look for your email on June 13th from NALA headquarters that gives you access to the voting portal. Take a minute right now to confirm that the email you have on file with NALA is the one through which you would like to receive your voting email. If it is not, please change it prior to June 13th so you can be certain to receive your vote. Your vote will also be for the Board of Directors. To learn more about the candidates, you can read their profiles in the May Facts and Findings and on the NALA website. Each candidate also has a candidate video available on NALA's YouTube channel. And we will be hosting a live virtual candidate forum on Tuesday, June 13th, the day you will be receiving your voting email. And last but not least, if you are planning to join us for the 2023 NALA Conference and Expo in Boston, July 12th through the 14th, early bird registration ends May 12th. So get your registrations in before that date for the biggest discount available. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time. And please remember to vote.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.